So, I want to tell you about a family. Back in 1876 in Kentucky, they were the very picture of the promise of a new America. They were educated, they were successful, and they were building a real future. And then, one night, they were systematically erased. Their home burned to the ground, their legacy buried under a mountain of lies, their very existence just denied. For over 100 years, it was like they never even existed. Until now.
This right here, this is the key, a single sentence hidden away in a private journal for 139 years that finally cracked the whole thing wide open. It explains not just what happened to this family, but why. It cuts right to the heart of the matter, a story of what happens when success becomes unforgivable.
Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back in time. We're in post-Civil War Kentucky. It's this moment of really fragile hope, but there's also all this resentment just simmering under the surface. The whole country is in the middle of what's called Reconstruction, and in Henderson County, a man named Samuel Foster was absolutely determined to make the promise of freedom real. You see, Reconstruction wasn't just some abstract idea. It was written down. It was a set of constitutional promises. The 13th Amendment ended slavery, the 14th granted citizenship, and the 15th, well, it promised the right to vote. On paper, it was nothing short of a revolution. And Samuel Foster took that promise on paper and decided he was going to make it real. I mean, just look at this progression. It is astonishing. Born into slavery, Samuel learned to read by candlelight. In 1863, he actually purchased his own freedom. And then through just sheer grit and hard work, by 1876, he owned 340 acres of prime farmland. And get this, he owned more land than most of his white neighbors. And that, right there, put a target on his back. The Fosters were the living, breathing proof that the promise of Reconstruction could work. Samuel wasn't just a farmer, he was a civic leader. His wife, Elizabeth, was self-taught. Their kids were educated, ambitious. Their son, Marcus, was already in college. They were everything America said a family should be, hardworking, smart, and successful. And because of that, they became a threat.
See, the Fosters' success wasn't just a personal win. It was a direct challenge to the lie that white supremacy was built on. This idea that Black people were somehow inherently inferior. Their family, their farm, their education, their very existence was an argument that couldn't be won with words. So it had to be destroyed with violence.
And the campaign to destroy them was cold and calculated. Look how it escalated, step by step. First, it's threats nailed to their fence. Then their mill gets vandalized. Then white merchants in town just stop doing business with them. The local paper starts printing attacks, and when Samuel went to the sheriff for help, he was basically just shrugged off. The whole system was turning against them.
And this wasn't just about simple economic jealousy. No, it was way more political than that. 1876 was a huge, fiercely contested election year. And what was Samuel Foster doing? He was organizing voter registration drives for Black Republicans. He was directly challenging the political power of the white Democratic establishment. He wasn't just a successful man anymore. He was a political symbol that had to be eliminated.
Let's be clear, this plan wasn't hatched in some dark alley. It was made in the back rooms of the courthouse by some of the county's most powerful men. They chose to wait until election night, November 8th, when they knew federal troops would be busy to make an example of the Foster family. 30 to 40 armed men? That number alone is just staggering. But then you have to look at who these men were. This was not some rogue vigilante mob. No, this was the establishment. The county sheriff and the county judge were right there with them. The law itself had come to destroy the Fosters. After they surrounded the house, the mob set it on fire. They left the family inside with a horrifying, impossible choice. Do you stay inside and burn to death, or do you run outside into a hail of bullets? Samuel made a choice. He and his 17-year-old son Marcus would stand in the doorway. They would try to buy time for his wife and younger kids to escape out the back and into the woods. So father and son stood together in the doorway of the home they built, and they were both cut down. But the murders, the fire, that was just the beginning. What came next was a swift, deliberate campaign to completely rewrite history, to justify the murder, and to wipe the Foster family's memory off the face of the earth. This table just lays out the lie with chilling clarity. I mean, look at the two columns. The truth, a successful, law-abiding landowner, was twisted into the lie of a dangerous radical.
Their farm, earned through years of hard work, was called ill-gotten gains. The massacre was reframed as putting down an insurrection. And the outcome? Justice served, case closed. It was over before it even began.
And this is how they sealed the lie. The local newspaper, whose editor, by the way, helped plan the attack, published this headline. And from there, it was picked up by papers all across the South. The official story was set in stone. Samuel Foster wasn't a victim, he was a threat who had been neutralized.
For more than a century, that lie was all that was left. Court records vanished. Witnesses silenced. The Foster family was gone. But, a story this important, it doesn't stay buried forever. This timeline shows just how long the road to the truth has been. Just look at that immense gap, 122 years of silence, until 1998, when Dr. Patricia Foster Williams, Samuel's great-great-granddaughter, started digging. And then the big breakthrough in 2015, that 139-year-old journal is found, which ultimately led to the lawsuit that was filed just last year. So this isn't just a story about the past. The fight to unerase the Fosters connects directly to right now, and it reveals the really deep, lasting consequences of this crime and the ongoing battle for some kind of justice. The legacy of this crime is just so stark. The 340 acres that the Fosters earned and literally bled for were seized and just divided up among the members of the mob. Today, as you can see, it's a golf course and a luxury subdivision. The generational wealth that should have belonged to the Foster family was stolen, and now it's a recreation spot. We talk about the racial wealth gap like it's some abstract academic concept. It's not. It's this. It's $12 million of stolen land. It's the inheritance of theft. The economic engine that Samuel Foster built wasn't just stopped, it was stolen and transferred to someone else. And here's the thing that is so vital to understand. The Fosters were not unique. They were a textbook example. This cycle of erasure was a pattern all across the South during and after Reconstruction. It was a playbook. Step 1, achieve success. Step 2, get targeted. Step 3, get your wealth stolen. Step 4, get erased from history. And the final step, get blamed for your own destruction. It was a campaign to destroy Black economic independence. So this whole story, it really leaves us with a fundamental question. For 139 years, America chose to forget the Fosters. But their great-great-granddaughter, she chose to remember. And now that we know their names, Samuel, Elizabeth, Marcus, Sarah, and James, what are we going to choose to do with that memory?